So normally right up here at the top is the Nikon camera. The way it's installed is you would be looking at the top of the camera towards you. Our setup is old enough that we have a specially made camera and lens for our system, but all the others that we support have Nikon cameras. What we have is over here on the right, we have a computer. On the screen down here is where we put the documents, and I'll show you a video in just a second. And then right here in the middle is where we watch what we're doing to make sure we've gotten a good record. That thing right there, that little white strip that you can see that I'm marking, can you guys see my cursor?
Yes.
Okay, that's called an X key. My wife sort of sits off to the right, and I put down a document, she takes a picture. I put down a document, she takes a picture. If she takes it too fast or too slow and my hands are in the picture, I'll say retake, and she'll hit a different button and take it. When we first started, we used about every 500 documents we would trade off, but now she does the buttons and I do the document placement. This is a video. Let's see if it will play. You'll see this is her. What we've got there is a book. It's a post-bound book so that we can take it apart, and we're just going through. She puts it down, takes a picture, turns it over, takes another picture, etc. And we just go through like that. If it's flat documents like that, we can do 600, 700, 800 in a day, in a 4-hour day. Now, one of the things that you're going to see, let me go back to my outline here so I don't get off track. So the components, it's a Nikon D810. It's a Windows machine, and it's a that stand, etc. Just as a background, that stand has 144 screws in it. So it takes about 8 hours to put together, but once I put it together, I can put it in my car and I can take it to your location and set it up in about 2 hours. It doesn't come in all those pieces. So here's the process. Let's go back. So here's the process. Somebody identifies a library or the Bryan Historical Society or Grimes County or whatever, and they say, okay, we have all these records we'd like to record. A record, what's called a record scout, goes, they work for FamilySearch, and they go and they try and find out what kind of records are there. Are they birth records? Are they death records? Are they wills, probate, deeds, you name it. Once they find that out and they find out how many records are there, they contact FamilySearch and basically say, FamilySearch, this group would like to get a camera. They go through a process. Technically it's a legal process. They have to sign a contract that says we're going to come in with our camera, and it's very boilerplate. The only thing that changes on the contract is the last page, and that is who it is and what they're going to find. We're going to find birth records, death records, whatever. It'll be a list. Normally that list does not even include how many records there are or what kind of records there are. If the record scout has done a good job, the record scout will go in and provide some kind of information about what kind of records they are. Are they post-bound books, which means we can take them apart? Are they non-post-bound books, which means we have to fold them out like that? Are they individual sheets of paper? Are they individual cards? If they're small cards, they're faster. And what that person is actually going to do is they're going to go in. Let me go back and share my screen again. They're going to go in and they're going to literally walk around a room that looks something like this, if they're lucky. This is Grimes County. Those are all postbound books. The ones on the left, we literally took 50 of them apart. Some of the older books, they didn't come apart. The other thing you'll see, let me back up here a second. The things on the right, those are called Woodruff files. Those contain wills, probate records, and that sort of thing. Those also get captured. So this was a nice room. When we walked into it, we looked at it and we said, oh, wow, cool. This is, oh, I don't have it, rats. We went to Waller County about a month ago, and we went into a room that we literally had to climb over boxes to look in boxes. So you never know what you're going to find. But the idea is to go in and say, okay, I have 33 deeds books. I know that they're 650 pages each. They're postbound. So that equates to a certain number of images. We end up with a guess at how many images we have.
Michael, is that your picture of boxes on the far right?
No, I was actually going to show you that in a little bit, but I'll show you that now.
Well, no, I'm talking about the next one over. There's a next image. It's all boxes stacked up. Nope. to
The other
right.
direction.
Oh, wait a minute.
Go the other direction. No,
let me-
down.
There we go. Okay,
Right
that's
there.
the one. Yeah. All right, let me try to figure out how to move this. So this is this is Waller County. This is where we started. We were up in the attic by the boiler at the above the elevator, et cetera. So we were literally climbing over those boxes. This is a different record, but I'll go ahead and show this now. You never know what kind of document you're going to get. And are you guys seeing my screen?
Yeah, we're seeing.
Okay. You never know what kind of document you're going to get. And you have to play. Back in the 1910s and 1920s, the county clerks loved to take a 2 or 3 page document and glue it together. So you ended up with this long document. Well, this is about a 9-foot document that we had to capture. What's fun in all of this is we constantly we're playing MacGyver because we have these documents. That particular document, I had a piece of plexiglass. I'd put a page up, take a picture of it, move the document, put the plexiglass down, take another picture. But we're constantly finding interesting records. We found a record, right now we're doing funeral home records for Clayton Library in Houston, and we came across this guy that had 3 gunshot wounds in his stomach. Location, in front of the tavern. We had another one that had a couple of gunshot wounds to the head, and right below it, the death certificate said, wife arrested. We also come across things like they buried the leg of somebody during World War I. They'd send back, because the guy blew up, they'd send back the leg. We actually had one where about 3 months later, they got the other leg. And it's interesting, the documents that you end up doing. So here's what happens. Once you have a setup and you have sort of your marching orders that you're going to do these documents, you then take and you sort of work out a plan, but the major plan is this. Starting on Monday, you start a folder within the software we're using. You, throughout the week, create folders. Those folders might be last name LA through LE for one folder, and then LI through LO for another folder, and that sort of thing. Or it might be just individual records. But what you're doing is throughout the week, you're creating numerous folders. Come Friday, you then take and write those folders to what's called a shuttle. It's a external hard drive that we write to. We send it to FamilySearch. FamilySearch gets it the following Tuesday. They ingest it within 2 days with the new system we're using. And within 2 days, people can see those records. They're not indexed yet, so I can't search for a certain name, a certain date. But if I look and I see that I have burial records from LA to LE, and I'm looking for that name, and I knew it was at this particular funeral home, I can go and I can look at those records. Throughout the time, then each week you send in a shuttle, and as you do that, you're getting more and more records. When you get to the end of the process, the camera gets moved to another location, and then you start the same process over.
Can I ask what areas, do you just cover your area there around Grimes, Montgomery County?
It's based on what FamilySearch wants us to do. Our initial project, we did Grimes County, and we were there for about a year. After we were done at Grimes County, we went to Cochran County because they had a very short project, but my boss, Michael Hansen, wanted to get it done. And so he sent us to Cochran County. Cochran County is way out west. The county seat is Morton, Texas. Morton, Texas is so small. There are no restaurants open at night, and there are no hotels whatsoever. So we've spent about 5 weeks there recording theirs. And in that case, you work all day, every day. Once we finished Cochran, we came back and we've done part of Hardin County. We then went to Carnegie. Carnegie is a historical library that there's actually another breakout room with Rachel here in Bryan, which is just north of College Station, where we recorded slave records and probate case files, which is basically wills and that sort of thing. We are currently doing Clayton records. We actually have the camera here in our house, but Clayton is in Houston.
Mm-hmm.
We go to Houston about every 6 weeks and we get another 10 boxes of records, bring them back, record them, take those back, get another 10 boxes. So basically you're working on one set. At any one time, though, there are multiple cameras. There's a camera in Bastrop County that's been working for a little over a year. There's a camera in First United Methodist Church that we just took up there about a month ago that Kelvin is doing another presentation. There is a Eastland County is being done. We've done Hardin County. And I think that's it. So we've been working on lots of records. But
So
basically, there are scouts going around all the time finding more records. There are lots more places that need cameras. We just don't have the cameras yet.
So you either go and stay at these places, or you bring the boxes home and do them at your location. And what you're looking for are volunteers to do what exactly?
To actually run the cameras.
Okay.
They will, wherever they go, they will run the camera. The places where we've gone out of town, Cochran and Hardin, were both short-term projects. And so we were there, both of them, for about 5 weeks just to finish up the projects. In the case of Grimes County is in Anderson, Texas. It's about a half an hour south of us. And we were actually set up, like I said, in their archives, in their jail. So 3 days a week for that first year, we went down there. When we were in Carnegie, 3 days a week, 4 days a week, we would go up to Carnegie where we had the camera set up. The reason that we're doing the stuff in our house now is because the records were actually in Houston at the Clayton Library, but they were willing to let us take them out of the library, which is unusual.
I was wondering about that.
Most of the
But,
time, they
yeah.
don't allow that. So because they're funeral records, these are records that were given to the library. They've had them for almost 20 years and they've been wanting to get them digitized. So now they have 20 file cabinets of records to be done. So we're just slowly going through them. We're about 40% done now, we think.
So you're looking for people that can join a team. So like if there were records somewhere here in the Bear, Kendall, Kerr, Gillespie County around us,
Yes,
if I'm on your list, you would contact me and see if I could help with something.
that's right. We would contact you. It works if you have a team because you can work a little bit faster. But basically what we would do where are you? Where's Kerr County?
I'm north of San Antonio. New
Oh,
Comal.
yeah, so what we would probably do in a case like yours is once the contract was approved, I would come out and I'd do a survey. I'd get a better count of the records. I would look at what room we're going to set it up. We need a couple of tables and some light. We need power and preferably internet. We would then bring a camera to you. Mike Hansen would send a camera to me. I have 2 cameras in my garage right now. I would then partially put it together. I would then come down and set the camera up, do all the things to set the computer up, et cetera, and train you and spend a day.
And I
or
would
two.
try to find a team, somebody from our genealogical society or DAR, DRT that could join me as a team and that would have time for whatever the estimate was on the length of time for the project.
Exactly.
So getting on your list doesn't necessarily say, hey, I've got something for you to do right now. And you can always say, well, at this time, I've got my own projects. I can't deal with yours. And
correct. It's really a dance between getting the contract signed, which is sometimes very easy and sometimes hard, getting a camera to you. And supposedly because the camera that I have was specifically made and is very expensive. Now that they're using Nikons, they can make more setups because they're much cheaper. The Nikons that we're using now are about $3,000 plus whatever the setup costs. I have no idea on that. Once we do that, then we need, there's not necessarily an order to it. We then need to find people to do it. And if we can find some people who will do it 2 or 3 days a week, we can get a camera to you and we can get it set up and get started. If we can get more people, that's even better. We can get it done quicker. We're getting ready to, a week from Monday, go to Liberty County and set up a camera and train 6 people up there. And they're going to be doing it. Basically, there'll be people there every day.
okay,
And
what
so
I'm going to have to leave the group, but do you have a place I could send you my email information and you could get back in touch with me? Because this may be something that our genealogical society might be interested in, or you might be able to get volunteers that way. So when you had something in our general area, you'd have at least a contact.
yes, you want to write down my email? I'll give it out right now.
Let me put it in my notes here. Okay, what is it?
M as in Michael, Bauer, BOWER, at bbunch.org. That's bbunch.org.
Okay, M Bauer at bbunch.org.
Yes.
Okay.
B-Bunch is a shortening for Bauer Bunch.
Okay. It's been interesting. I'm sorry I have to leave. It's interesting to know how these records are recorded and they get to, this is going to FamilySearch, right?
That's right.
Yeah, okay.
And we actually, there's actually another camera called a community camera that if we find a cache of records that FamilySearch doesn't want, but there's a big enough interest in, we can send what's called a community camera. It is a scaled down version of what we have. It's a Nikon D610 instead of an 810. It's a scaled down setup, but it's basically the same thing. And then you find people to come and do, and you record the images, but they don't get sent to FamilySearch.
Okay,
So be sure to write to me. If I don't hear back, if you don't hear back from me almost immediately, send me another email. My email host, whatever they're called, sometimes doesn't like to process my email. So
okay. All right. Well, nice meeting you. Thank you very much. This has been very interesting.
certainly.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Is there a camera over at the Dallas Library?
There's a currently, it's a book camera, right? It's a book camera. There's basically two kinds of setups. There's
Oh,
camera capture, which we have, and then there is book capture, which is it's a bigger setup, same idea, but it's more elaborate in that it automatically adjusts the pages because it's doing books. It does 2 pages at a time and that sort of thing. We actually, when we were in Dallas for the first United Methodist Church, tried to go to the Dallas Library and meet those people. They happened to be out of town that day. So next time.
yeah,
we'll go.
I want to run over there just to see the setup. But I just don't like going to Dallas. So
Having been there, I understand that.
yeah.
It's
So-
actually, they have a lot of parking for the library, so it's
Yeah, I
pretty
know
easy.
underneath there, and I've heard you have to be careful coming out because you come out across the sidewalk. And I've heard that some people like to jump in front of you as you're coming out so they can file an insurance claim.
Oh, yeah, I'd heard about that.
Yeah. So I'm glad you had the video. Thank you.
Certainly.
So
There are, and it is, I think they have free parking, but the meters are cheap too. Right there.
well, I've always parked down in the garage there underneath.
We didn't know where we were going, so we didn't know there was a garage underneath.
Yeah.
We
So,
just parked in the street.
but I'm glad you had the videos. Thank you.
Certainly.
So take care.
Talk to you later.
See you Tuesday, I think.
Okay.